Hi there. How's it going, everybody? We have another exciting game for you here. It's April 17th, 1908, and today we have the Pirates at the Cardinals, and this is a special one because of the man who's at the plate right now. This is Honus Wagner, and Honus Wagner is back. He is back after his short retirement before the 1908 season. Honus Wagner is back in action, and he's got a crazy card, and he rolls an 11 for a 2, and he's got a triple to lead it off. His first at-bat back, and he winds up on third base with a triple, and the Cardinals are going to play the infield deep, I think, on him, and here comes Fred Clark now, and he rolls a 63 for a 31. That's a fly ball out there to Shaw in center field. He catches it. It's not deep enough to score Wagner. One away, and here's Tommy Leach. And Tommy rolls a 65, and that's going to be a 35. That winds up being a walk because Art from the pitcher for the Cardinals has a W. So runners on first and third here in the early going for Ed Abaticcio. And we're going to do a little hit and run action here. It's 1908. We better be hitting and running it. The result is a 31 for a 9. And that's a little single to right. That scores 1. And no, my apologies, because it's a B. It ends up being a ground ball to Gilbert at second base. He makes the play at first, and Tommy Leach moves up, and it's a good hit and run play ground ball, and that makes the score 1-0 Pirates right away. And here's Chief Wilson, and the Pirates are looking a little bit better here. He rolls a 46 for a 27. That is a ground ball over to Byrne at third base, and he throws over for the out. And that does it. 1-0 Pirates now as we go into the bottom of the first inning. As you can see, and Red Murray is up next. He rolls a 33 for a 0, and we re-roll with Red. That is a 33 for a 1, and we'll see if we get this one reduced or not for the Pirates. Rolls a 15, so it is reduced to a double. Double there for Red Murray, just misses a home run. As you can see up here, the Pirates have not played so well so far this season. They're 1-2. In real life, without Honus Wagner, they were still 3-0 at the end of the first 3 games of the season. Shaw up now, rolls a 55 for an 8. There's a little comebacker to Liefeld, and he throws to first base for the out. That moves Red Murray up to third with 1 out. Infield will play deep, and Ed Konieczny's up there, rolls a 53 for a 19. That changes to a 20, and that winds up being a single to second base that scores the run. No error on that play. That's just a base hit. Infield single for Konieczny, and it's 1-1 just like that. Here is Joe Delahanty, rolls a 61 for a 27, and that winds up being a double play ground ball over to Leach at third. Goes to Abaticcio for 1, and on to Swasina at first base for 2, and that does the twin killing. Top of the second inning now, and here's Harry Swasina, and he rolls a 22 for a 7, gets a single to right field, and up comes Beals Becker. And we're going to bunt right away. And I was hitting Becker leadoff for some reason earlier on. I'm not sure what I did to make the original lineup here, but we don't have to worry about that anymore. Becker bunts, and that's a little bunt over to third base. It is Byrne who picks that one up, and he throws over to Gilbert, who's covering a first for the out. And there is 1 away, runner on second base for the Pirates now. And here is George Gibson, rolls a 36 for a 33. That winds up being a little pop-up. That's over to shortstop. O'Rourke has it for the second out. Here is Larry Liefeld. He rolls a 36 for a 33, and that is going to potentially be a pop-up. We'll see if it gets into that error range or not. We roll a 31, and that is outside the error range, so it is a little pop-up over to O'Rourke again, and we go to the bottom of the second inning, 1-1 still. Leading it off is Billy Gilbert, roll a 53 for a 20. That is changed over to a 19, which winds up being an error on Leach. And there's a runner on first base now with nobody out for Pat O'Rourke. And with a card like that, we're going to bunt. And he rolls a 65 for a 35. That winds up being a walk. So lefty Liefeld also struggling with his control. That brings up Bobby Byrne, and we are going to bunt with him. And he rolls a 14, which means that he walks in the at-bat as well. Now the infield's going to be in, and we're going to try to bunt, even though we have 3 slow men on base, because Bill Ludwig, I don't know what he can hit. He rolls a 12 for a 25. The bunt goes back to Liefeld, and he makes the play at home, and they double the batter off at first. And boy, that's kind of a rare one for you. And the Cardinals end up with 2 outs now after that play completely fails, overcoming an error and 2 walks there by the Pirates. And here's Art from the pitcher, but there are 2 outs now, and that was a big defensive play by Pittsburgh. And maybe getting Honus Wagner back is the thing that's going to do it for the Pirates here to turn things around. Fromm rolls a 12 for a 24, and that's a little pop-up high fly out over to Leach covering at third base. And the Pirates get out of that one, get out of it bases loaded with nobody out situation without giving up a single run. And here is Honus, and he rolls a 56 for a 14. And Fred Clark is up next, and you know what we're doing. We're hitting and running. It's a 29, a little comebacker to Art, and he throws to first base. Wagner makes it to second. Runner on second base, 1 out now for Tommy Leach. He rolls a 13 for a 14. It's another base on balls, and here comes Abaticio, and we're not bunting here, baby. Roll is a 12 for a 24, and this little ground ball over to Gilbert. Gilbert to O'Rourke, and on over to Kenichi for the double play. Maybe we should have bunted. What do you think? Here's Red Murray, bottom of the third inning, nobody out. He rolls a 35 for a 9, and it's a single, but that little C gets him. He's thrown out, stealing second. There's 1 out now for Albert Shaw. He rolls an 11 for a 0, and then a 55 for a 2, and our Albert Shaw ends up tripling out there to left field, and here comes Ed Kenichi with a runner on third base, 1 out, and we will pull the infield in, but we're not going to bunt. And he rolls a 52 for a 27. It's a ground ball to third base, and Leach has it, throws over to first for the out. And there's a dog walking in front of us outside. As you can hear, our dog Lucy is a little bit excited. And next up is Joe Delahanty, rolls a 21 for a 30, and that ends up being a little fly ball over to left field. Clark has it for the out, and nothing happens for the Pirates there in the bottom of the third inning. Go to the top of the fourth, still 1-1. Chief Wilson now rolls a 62 for a 12, and we're going to see if an error comes up or not. It will not be an error. That ends up being a ground ball over to Kenichi at first, who does it himself, 1 away. Up next is Harry Swasina, rolls a 56 for a 34, and he strikes out, and there are 2 gone. Second strikeout of the game for Fromm, who has 3 walks as well. Up now is Beals Becker, who rolls a 61 for a 27. That is a ground ball over to Byrne at third base, and he makes it the throw over to Kenichi at first for the out. To the bottom of the fourth we go, and Billy Gilbert, and he rolls a 26 for a 30. That's a fly ball out to Clark in left field, 1 away. And here's Patsy O'Rourke. And the roll is a 32 for a 26. That's going to be a ground ball to second base, and it's Abaticio making it 2 away, making the play. Next is Bobby Byrne, who rolls a 16 for a 28, and this time it is a ground ball over to Honus Wagner, who makes that play for you. And we go to the top of the 5th inning. George Gibson comes up. He rolls a 32 for a 26. That's another ground ball. This time it's over to Gilbert, who makes the play at first, 1 away. And here comes Lefty Liefeld. Lefty rolls a 26 for a 13, and he strikes out. And he's going to strike out with the card like that. That's strikeout number 3 for Fromm. And here we have Honus Wagner again, who rolls a 54 for a 45. And we'll see if we get that little E or not. He rolls a 12 afterwards. We do get the little E, and it's a little ground ball over to Kenichi at first, who boots it. And Wagner is the runner on at first base. Next is Fred Clark, rolls a 16. Yep, 16 for a 28. And that is a ground ball to O'Rourke, who goes to first base for the out. That does that. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still a tight one, 1-1 ball game. Up first is Bill Ludwig, who rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's a ground ball once again, this time to Honus Wagner at shortstop, makes the play to first, 1 out. Art Fromm now rolls a 56 for a 34, and we'll see if this is in that error range or not, and it is, and it winds up being an error on Honus. So Honus comes back in to this game, but winds up making an error, letting the pitcher reach first base, and St. Louis is going to hit and run with the pitcher, who's fast. Rolls a 12 for a 25, and that ends up being a line drive over to Abaticio, who makes the play and then throws over to first to complete it. That's a double play. We go to the top of the 6th inning. That would have been a double play, I think, no matter what we did. Tommy Leach rolls a 15 for an 11, and that is a single and then a stolen base. That means that Tommy Leach is now the runner on second base with nobody out, and here comes Ed Abaticio, and he has a chance to drive one in. He rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's going to be a little comebacker to Fromm, and he goes to first with a Leach, moves over to third base, 1 away now, and the infield's going to come in as Chief Wilson is going to bunt. And so Owens up there, he bunts, and he rolls a 64 for a 29, and he misses the pitch, but Leach is able to get back to third base. We're going to try again. 1 strike on him now. This is a 41 for a 28, and that winds up being a little ground ball over to first base, and that is Kenichi there, who grabs the ball and is able to make the play to Gilbert, covering the bag, but the run scores, and it's now 2-1 Pirates, and this is where small ball really comes in handy. 2-1 here. It's the top of the 6th inning. 2 outs now. Harry Swasina up for the Pirates. He rolls a 42 for a 13 and strikes out. So we go to the bottom of the 6th inning now. Albert Shaw comes up. Rolls a 54 for a 45. And here comes that little E again, and it's a 44 as the roll. It winds up being a fly ball out to right field. Wilson is under it, makes the play, 1 away. Here's Ed Kenichi. Rolls a 26, and that is a ground ball over to third base to Leach, and he makes the play over to Swasina at first, 2 away. And up comes Joe Delahanty, and he rolls a 24 for a 13, and there's a strikeout, and that does that. So we're going to go to the top of the 7th inning in this one, and of course, I just realized here that I haven't been keeping track of all the little screenshots I've been making. And so you'll have to bear with me for just a second here, and you can tell I'm trying to get through the game as quickly as I possibly can for some other reasons. But so far, it's kind of a quick one here. Let's see, that was top of the 6th. This has been quite a quick game thus far, and it's been a pretty smoothly played game as well. Only 4 or 7 base hits overall. That big play that took place, the double play, is what I'm looking at the screenshot of. That was there in the bottom of the 2nd inning, I see. And that was really the best opportunity of the game for the Cardinals to really blow it open, where they had the bases loaded and nobody out. And I mean, it's 1908, so I'm not going to excuse myself for bunting necessarily, but boy, I tell you, the bunts are a little bit precarious here in NP3 from time to time. The first batter up is Beals Becker, and he rolls a 65 for a 35, and we're going to have a little E-roll here. And the roll's a 14, which means it's going to be an error. That error is charged on Fromm, who drops the ball as it's hit to him. Second error of the game against St. Louis, and here comes George Gibson. But note that Becker is not a fast runner. Gibson just going to try to bunt him over if he can. The roll's a 21 for a 30. That ends up being a good bunt that goes over to Byrne at third base. He makes the play over to Gilbert, covering at first, the second baseman. There's 1 away. Here comes lefty Liefeld, who's a pretty good hitter in his own right. He's got a better hitting card than 3 of the men in front of him. And he rolls a 35 for a 23. That one is randomized over to a 36, which means it's a wild pitch that moves Becker over to third base. And Pittsburgh has a chance to blow this one open now. And Becker is slow. We're not going to try to do anything really fancy. The infield is coming in. Roll a 52 for a 27, which is a ground ball over to Byrne, who makes the play at first after holding the runner. And here comes Honus Wagner with a chance to really be a hero and try to blow this game open for the Pirates. Wagner up there rolls a 45 for a 14, which is a single, and then he steals second base in the next play. You see that little S. Little S is the opposite of the little C. It's the same thing as sort of the old asterisk was in the APBA days on your 14s, except here they can also be on base hits. Here's Fred Clark now with 2 outs, 2 on, runners in second and third. St. Louis is just going to look to get out of this inning. He rolls a 61 for a 27. That is a ground ball over to Byrne again, who holds the runner, of course, and makes the play at first base. And that ends the inning, and it's 2-1 still Pirates going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's Billy Gilbert, rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to Leach, who makes the play at first base, 1 away. Patsy O'Rourke now. He rolls a 45 for a 14, and he will walk. And here comes Bobby Byrne, who has had a very good defensive game, but doesn't have much offensive capability. We bunt with him. He rolls a 46 for a 29, and that's the opposite of what you want to happen. That's a bunt over to Swasina, who takes a chance and goes to Wagner covering at second, and they get the lead runner. That means that Byrne is the runner at first base with 2 outs, and here's Bill Ludwig, who rolls a 22 for an 8. That is a ground ball over to Leach at third base, and he makes the play at first. And we go to the top of the 8th inning, still 2-1. First man up, Tommy Leach rolls a 36 for a 33, and that's a strikeout for Art Fromm. That's his 5th strikeout of the game. Next up is Ed Abbaticchio, and he rolls an 11, and that's a 0, and he's going to go deep. How deep? We'll find out. The roll is a 56 for a 6 in the second column. And Abbaticchio now is the runner on second base, but with 1 out. And here comes Wilson and Swasina to try to drive him in. I think we're going to swing away with Wilson, and the roll is 62 for a 12, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 6 of the game for Art Fromm, and here comes Swasina now, and you kind of wish that we'd bunted there. And he rolls a 54 for a 45, and we have a chance with the little E. Let's see what happens. It's a 41. No little E going. Instead, it's a fly ball over to Shaw in center field. He makes the play, and that does that. Art From now is leading off the bottom of the 8th inning, and he rolls a 51 for 36. That's just a ball. He gets another roll. It's a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to Leach at third base. He makes the play to first, 1 away. Red Murray now. He rolls a 56 for a 34. This little pop up over to Honus Wagner at short and makes the play, 2 away. Just like that, here's Albert Shaw, rolls a 25 for a 10, and he gets a base hit over to center field. I'm not quite sure when the last base hit was for the Cardinals. We're going to have to look back a little ways if we really want to find the answer to that. In fact, we can look back really quickly. I think the last time the Cardinals had a base hit actually was in the, looks like that was in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Is that right? Yes, it was the bottom of the 3rd inning where Shaw got that triple and then couldn't score because of those good plays by Leach. And so now Shaw is back on base with 2 outs with the first base hit for the Cardinals in 5 innings. And here's Ed Kenichi now up at the plate. Runner on first base, 2 outs. What a situation. He rolls a 33 for a 0, and this might turn this game around. Let's see here. The next roll is a 36 for a 33, and that's good enough to score the runner. That is a tie ball game for you now. 2-2 is the tie score. And man, oh man, I tell you, these 1908 games are all like this. Now, not every game is going to be like extremely exciting like this one has now become, but these games are all so close, and they're just, it's mind-numbing just how close these games can be. It's just incredible. Kenichi now is the runner on second base with Joe Delahanty up there. 2-2 is the tie game, and Delahanty rolls a 45 for a 14. Lefty Liefeld having a real hard time with his control. That brings up Billy Gilbert. Runners on first and second, but 2 outs. He rolls a 23 for a 32. That's going to be a fly ball out there to right field. Wilson's Gotti makes the play. We go to the top of the 9th, and here is Beals Becker. He rolls a 43 for 29. Come back to From. He makes the play at first base, 1 out. George Gibson now. He rolls a 42 for a 32. That is a fly ball over to Murray in right field. And there's 2 away, and here's lefty Liefeld. He rolls a 23 for a 13. He strikes out. And now we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and up comes Patsy O'Rourke. Here we go, and he rolls a 26 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to third base, and it's Leach making the play to first. 1 away, Bobby Byrne now. He rolls a 63 for a 30. That is a fly ball to Clark in left field. He makes the play, 2 away. Here's Bill Ludwig, and he rolls a 61 for a 32. Another fly ball over to Wilson, this time in right. We go to the top of the 10th inning. Another extra inning game for us. We've had a number of these extra inning games recently. Here's Honus, and he rolls 64 for a 9. He gets his base hit against From, but he is caught stealing thanks to the little C. And this is a case, by the way, where I think the little C is quite realistic. There are some situations where you're like, why are we stealing? But in that case, I kind of do want Honus to try to steal. We need somebody in scoring position for the Pirates. Clark now rolls a 62 for a 12. Of course, the 62 has a little E next to it, as usual, and the little E does not come to be. The roll is a 32, which is out of the range. That ends up being a little ground ball over to Kenichi, who takes it to the bag himself at first base. 2 away, and it's Tommy Leach. Now he rolls a 36 for a 33, and that's the strikeout. Strikeout number 8 of the game for From, who's having a marvelous game. And we go to the bottom of the 10th inning now. Art From is going to lead it off. Not much of a hitter. Rolls a 26 for a 29. That's a little comebacker to Liefeld, throws him out, 1 away. Red Murray now rolls a 56 for a 34, and that is a pop-up over to Honus Wagner, who makes it 2 away. Albert Shaw. He rolls a 54 for a 45, and that's a fly ball to Wilson in right. And we go to the top of the 11th inning. Ed Abaticchio is up now, and he rolls a 64 for a 13. That is strikeout number 9 for From. Next is Owen Wilson, rolls a 31 for a 9. I was about to say, anything that happens, anything you can hit is going to be a base hit against From because he's lost his effectiveness. And now it's Harry Swasina, who you know is bunting, and he does bunt, and it's a 45 for a 14, which is a base on balls. And now the Cardinals really have to be careful. And here comes Beals Becker, with 2 on, and he is going to bunt. He rolls a 32 for a 26, and that's a bunt that goes down to Byrne at third base. He throws over to Kenichi at first. 2 away now, and it's George Gibson who has a chance to score or drive in a run for the Pirates. And his roll is a 15 for an 8. That's a base hit, and that will score 1 runner and cause another one to be thrown out at home. And now the score is Pirates 3, Cardinals 2, as this was a very, very exciting play. The runner thrown out at home was a Swasina, so we take a quick look here at Swasina's card. He has that S, of course, and this is where the S kind of comes to haunt you. because he's not fast enough to score on that play. And, of course, he's racing home to try to make it a 2-run game. Instead, it's 3-2 Pirates now in the going into the bottom of the 11th. Ludwig is potentially going to come away being the hero in this game, but we still have a little bit more to play. We got 3 more outs to get through. Here comes Ed Kenichi for the Cardinals. Bottom of the 11th inning, and he's a leadoff hitter. He rolls a 43 for a 29, and that's a ground ball over to lefty Liefeld, still in the ball game for the Pirates. And now here's Joe Delahanty. Liefeld has also lost his effectiveness. Delahanty rolls a 26 for a 32, and that's a fly ball to Wilson in right field, 2 away. Only 13 hits in this ball game, a very smoothly played game, though there are 4 errors in total. The errors haven't really come into the scoring much. Here's Billy Gilbert, and I'm going to wonder if we shouldn't put in a pinch hitter for him. And so we'll take a quick look here. I usually just look here at the stats really quickly and see, do we have any pitchers who potentially could hit for him. Carger is actually a little bit worse, and I'm not seeing anybody in the bench who really should come into hit. Maybe Shadberry. Okay, we will do it. We'll put Shadberry in this game to pinch hit in an attempt to try. We always try to win. And he rolls a 42 for a 22, which is going to be a ground ball over to Swasina at first base, and he flips it over to Liefeld covering, and that is the game, and that is the end of it, and that is how it goes down. So the final score here for you is the Pittsburgh Pirates 3, St. Louis Cardinals 2 after 11 innings, and Honus Wagner is back in the major leagues, and all is well in Pittsburgh as they move to 2-2. The Cardinals also move down to 2-2. Hope you enjoyed that one. I'll see you back with more tomorrow. Bye.